What's up, YouTube? What's up, Extreme Gains family? I'm Chuck. This is Extreme Gains. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please do not take it as such. Today is Tuesday, August 22nd, 2022, and this is my Amc Gme and SPY Algo exposed daily update and preparation video for tomorrow and beyond. As always, I hope you all had a great day in the market today, and I hope you took advantage of the extreme volatility and you were able to make some extreme gains for yourselves. I'm gonna go over all my regulars, my snake Algo method for all three tickers, and some macro comparatives. So with all of that said, let's dig in. Real quick, my extreme gains for today from my scalp setups on the 7 tickers that I set up every single day provided 12 entries from trigger today, the highest ROI being 200%. And then I had the rest of them range between 50% and 20% at the low today, multiples of all of them to round out that list. Super happy and grateful as always. Extreme Gains Premium Discord fam killed it today. Congrats to all of you. As always, it is well deserved, and I hope all of you out here in our extended family in YouTube land were able to do something similar and make some extreme gains for yourselves. Also, real quick, on your screen is AMC on the left, SPY on the right. This is my micro intraday snake Algo method and the snakes that I clipped for today on both SPY on the right, AMC on the left for their 5-minute intraday charts. You can see what they were, what the projection was from them, and the fulfillment of them today with price action. Both of them were locked in and dead on, as you can see. Moving on to the intra-week snakes. Currently on your screen, is AMC with my current intra-week snake. AMC finished today down the 41.95% due to the ape dividend being released today and the value being removed from the AMC ticker, therefore down that 41.95%, currently up 2.58% in after hours, trading at $10.73. Now, the current intra-week snake that I had on here that projected all of the half of the previous week, all of last week, and this was the placement that I had it in last night's video. Obviously, you can see here, let me move the micro. This appears to be potentially a level changed fulfillment. So if that were the case, then you can see what the projection is from it moving forward into tomorrow and beyond to its expiry for me to then clip a new potential day of and day prior to intra-week snake for the upcoming projections from an intra-week snake perspective. Or there's a possibility that this just needs extended vertically like this. And you can see we still maintain the integrity of the fulfillment of the previous projection, and you can see where that would put us down here today, and obviously what that would be implying as far as a projection moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it. So obviously those are the characteristics that I will be looking for from the price action tomorrow in the form of this incoming bounce potentially happening and to the height in which it may provide that before then returning back downside and or completing this in its other version that I showed you for me to clip a new potential upcoming intra-week snake as of tomorrow, looking at it as day of and day prior to. So that's everything that I'm looking at from an intra-week snake perspective on AMC. The macro comparatives. For AMC, I have been using the previous double bottom right next door here, and I used it for most of this replicated double bottom that we have just come down out of. Obviously, we put in somewhat of a head and shoulders up here instead of a single hit and move to the downside. I talked to you and showed you how these were invert mirrored, and you can see the fulfillment of that to the downside. And as of last night's video, this was the position of it. Obviously, we did not bleed the rest of this out with the whole clip clipped, it did bring us down to this exact same level. However, taking a step back and looking at this for potential future projection using this same bottom for the time being, obviously this is something that I would look at, and I would use the exact same bottom flipped, and you can see the placement of this would be on that right hand shoulder. You can see the fulfillment of it to the downside, to the level in which we are at. Obviously, it's not candle for candle, and that's fine. You can see moving into tomorrow and beyond what the projected path may be from a projection perspective from this macro comparative in this position if price action were to continue to fulfill it. If we zoom out even further from a box top perspective, we have a macro third sitting here untouched and unfulfilled, and we have the previous macro that hit, right, which was the mid time frame middle of the potential double W, and then the move up to that macro third possibly. So that is what I'm looking at this like for my box top people, as this potentially being the middle of the macro double, and then fulfillment to the upside to the macro third. We'd have the lower macro third and then the upper macro third if we had a compressed continuation here. We'll talk about that if and when, obviously a lot of time between now and then. So I want to get a bead on this from a macro comparative perspective moving forward. As of right now, this is where I am at with it until I see something that may drive me or lean me in one direction or another. So that is everything that I am looking at with AMC moving into tomorrow and beyond. The ape dividend. This is a clip of AMC's 5-minute chart on top of the ape dividend. Obviously, we have some resemblance in the movements and the fulfillment of that today. It did appear to some extent like AMC was moving out in front of this ape dividend ticker today. So that is something that I am going to keep an eye on moving forward and try to get at least an intro week snake, and then obviously some box top charting on it if it were to fulfill itself in such a way. But for right now, I do not have enough data to do so. So I have just tracked it here today with that one clip. Wanted to show you that, and obviously let you see that there and tell you what my perspective is according to what it is that I may be doing moving forward with the ape dividend charting. Moving on, up next is GME. By the way, the ape dividend finished trading today, regular trading hours. If I can get back to my mobile here. Down 8.95% at $6 even, currently up 0.83% in after hours, trading at $6.05. Up next is GME. GME finished the day today down 5.45%, currently down an additional 0.26% in after hours, trading at $34.41. The current intro week snake is what is on your screen here, that has continuously projected and fulfilled 1, 2, 3, 4 whole weeks now. You can see the obvious fulfillment of its projection to the downside as it fulfilled on Thursday, the bounce on Friday, the rejection here today, and back downside. You can see moving forward into tomorrow and beyond what the projection is from it if price action were to continue to fulfill it in this position. The macro comparative is from the previous bottom, double bottom right next door here, and it's been used in both the straight up and the mirrored position. I am currently viewing it and tracking it in the mirrored position. Upon further looking, it does appear like this is potentially the position of it. That means from the moment that it mirrored here, we had a fulfilled projection with one invert mirrored fulfillment, then a convergence back with it, and a candle for candle fulfillment. And you can see moving forward into tomorrow and beyond what the projection would be from it in the mirrored position if price action were to continue to fulfill it. And that is everything that I'm looking at with GME. And last but not least is SPY. SPY finished the day today down 2.08%, currently up 0.11% in after hours, trading at 413.82. The current intra-week snakes, I went through a couple different scenarios with you last night, and I will show you them now and the progression of them with today's movements. The previous day of divergence intra-week snake is the green snake that you see here. And as I explained last night, in its straight up position, we fulfilled all of it from its placement until it mirrored itself right here. This upside projection was fulfilled in a downside manner, therefore indicating that this had been mirrored. So upon mirroring it right at that moment, we then continued to fulfill the projection candle for candle. Going into today as well, you can see what the projection was from it in this position and what it is moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it in its mirrored position. The day prior to the previous divergence was the red one here, and we got the continued, after a initial mirroring, we got a continued fulfillment to the upside likewise and fulfilled to its expiry, therefore indicating I needed to clip a new potential day of and day prior to get a new upcoming intra-week snake. So I did clip both of them, the day of and day prior to. The blue is the day prior to with a 1 day overlap. You can see the projection for today with that downside move and moving forward into tomorrow and beyond, a hard upside return and fulfillment. And if you zoom out, obviously a macro consolidation moving forward in an ascending manner nonetheless from this potential intra-week snake moving forward. Then the day of that divergence, likewise with a 1 day overlap, you can see the projection to the downside today fulfilled, not as violent or as volatile as the previous one, but you can see moving forward into tomorrow and beyond what the projection is from it if price action were to continue to fulfill it. And likewise, zoomed out with a macro consolidation. I talked about the levels between roughly the 414 and the 438 would be the consolidative levels that I'll be looking at moving forward if this were to be the scenario that fulfills. If I put them both on here, you can see where they are very, very similar in their initial move and where they essentially perfectly invert mirror themselves from each other moving forward throughout that consolidation if this were to be the ongoing scenario. Real quick as well, I want to move the day prior to and bring back the day of divergence in its mirrored position. You can see obviously if this were to continue to fulfill itself to its expiry, it would run itself right into and converge with both of these potential new upcoming intra-week snakes if that scenario were to run itself as well. So they are all lining up from that perspective. However, if the current intra-week snake, the day of divergence right here, the green one, continues to fulfill, I will be clipping another set of day of and day prior to out here, what looks to be potentially Wednesday and Thursday if we get continued fulfillment to the expiry of this current intra-week snake to go along with this scenario as well. We'll view those together. They may be absolutely identical and there may only be a need for one set, or we may need to view both sets moving forward from that point on, but we'll take a look at it from then and go from there. Moving on to the macro comparative from the 0809 correction and crash. Here's the bird's eye view of that on our current price action, and you can see the previous fulfillment of it. We talked about this potentially having this peak fulfilled and put in, therefore then starting the downside with the neckline break back downside, and you can see we would have then what would potentially be a head and shoulders with the left shoulder here, the head and neck here, and a potential right shoulder here for a macro neckline breakdown for a continuation to downside. If that peak were to be fulfilled in that position, it would fulfill itself, and it is projecting exactly that. The right hand shoulder to be put in a W formation or a small double top formation and then the macro neckline break to the downside with a confirmation and a continuation check up before the release to the downside. If that peak were not to be in yet, we did talk about this scenario potentially. Obviously, I was expecting a bounce a lot quicker rather than this continued downside today to this level and back up for that peak fulfillment up around the 438 level on this macro third up above it. It does not look like that's what's going on. It does appear to me like potentially the peak is in from this perspective, at least right now. This could have outran this to the downside a little bit, obviously dependent upon the bounce and continued fulfillment. I'll make a judgment call from that perspective moving forward regarding the upcoming movement fulfillment. However, with the peak in, you can see what the projection would be moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it. My friends, my family, that is everything I have for AMC, GME, and SPY that I will be looking at and looking for moving into specifically tomorrow and beyond. And that is everything I have for the video. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much. I appreciate it greatly. Do not forget to smash the like button on your way out. Leave a comment. Let me know how you did in the market today. Hopefully you made some extreme gains and took advantage of the volatility in the market. I will get an update and prep video out tomorrow night after market close, and I am planning on doing the YouTube and Twitch live stream on Wednesday morning starting at 9 a.m. Eastern from then until market close. So mark your calendars down and plan on coming by, hanging out, trading with us, bullshitting with us, all that good stuff. So take care, enjoy the rest of your evening. Good luck in the markets tomorrow. Make some extreme gains for yourselves, and I will talk to you all tomorrow night on the next one. Take care. Talk to you tomorrow. Later.